Yeah, so with your with Creditcoin, can you like explain how the integration between Ayala and Creditcoin works?
Yeah, definitely. I think, when people think crypto, they always think of it from a Bitcoin perspective. And when we mention crypto, we just think about it more from a blockchain angle. How we recording data, how we making that data accessible so we can continuously raise capital. How can we use the blockchain to provide access? There's something I like to call a disconnect of capital. You'll say the West has a lot of capital, but not a lot of places to allocate capital. And that's why returns are so low. We're talking sub 5%. And you can say down in emerging markets, they have high rates of return, but high risk. And, blockchain is a good way to aggregate that risk. How do you reduce that risk? You can only reduce that risk with transparency. And I think when you look at Creditcoin, you look at it as a way to create transparency. We like to say it's a project that we also help comb from the credit side, letting the blockchain engineers understand what was very key and critical on the credit side of things, and how it could all flow and how it could all work together. How do we get people to trust that the data that they're seeing is true? How do we disperse that money, to customers digitally and create some kind of a trail, and also create a repayment pattern trail for those repayments also. And how do you create this system where there's no manual manipulation going on? And if that can be done, that can solve the capital disconnect that a lot of emerging markets are facing. And this is a real $1 trillion opportunity on the micro loan space.
Definitely. I mean, I think there's the figures are there might be there's something like over 1 billion, or if not hundreds of millions of small and medium enterprises who just don't have the access to capital they need. And obviously the biggest obstacle are borders in one sense, and that they stop the flow of money, but it's also, as you mentioned, the factor of trust is just very hard to build.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's in Nigeria alone, just our high level research this year alone, at least 350,000 micro and small businesses have requested access to capital on the platform. So how do you get those guys access to capital? And how do you build processes for them too? Because a lot of them are unstructured businesses. So how do you build some kind of digital process, usually mobile first, where they can take loans on their mobile, maybe record their inventory on their mobile, ensure they pay you back on them, via their mobile, and create that whole digital process mobile first. Yeah. And where it can't be manipulated in any way, and that data is objective for everyone to see.
And you're creating like a paper trail as well, by which these businesses can then sort of prove a variety of things which are needed for the modern day businesses to run and expand.
Exactly.
I mean, so I'm sure with your Creditcoin model, obviously people who accumulate good credit records, I presume they then also receive better interest rates. I'm guessing that's a strong feature in your platform.
Yeah, with or without the blockchain, people who pay back will get better interest rates. I think that, what the blockchain will do is will give them more access to more capital. I think it gets to a point on our platform where we can't give out more than $100 or $200 loans, right? And we want a position where people who've proven themselves can get higher and higher loans and create more wealth, and also employ more people and break that cycle of poverty that we've seen. We're not going to say that we're a totally altruistic platform. Of course, we're a profitable platform. We're for profit first, but what we're still trying to build is a socially conscious, profitable business. We want to drive rates as low as possible, but that also requires us being very, the more we can manage risk and the more transparency, the lower we can drive rates. Higher we can get returns.
And then again, that's when identity is important, because you have a way for these companies to link their identity to their credit score.
And when we say companies, for us, it's mostly individuals. We have 1 million registered users on our platform. and it's mostly individuals, but a lot of companies are individuals in emerging markets. A lot of individuals don't register formal companies; they just
Yeah.
do business and carry out their business as individuals, not as structured entities. So, and that's where that blend of being a business and an individual comes into